Hi, how's it going? I'm just sitting here having a cup of cocoa. No whiskey in it this time. Just some ginger. I sprinkled some ginger in there. It's really, really good with the ginger. So who else is tired of adulting this year? I, for sure, am tired of adulting this year. 2020, 2020, whichever way you want to say it, has been crap. I won't be sorry to see the back end of it on December 31st, that's for sure. Yesterday morning, I was sitting in my office / second bedroom and heard drip, drip, drip. So I come out and I look around and I'm trying to figure out where's the sound coming from. My upstairs neighbor flooded her laundry room, so it was dripping into my hallway. So now I've got stains on my ceiling in the hallway. That needs to be fixed. I've got buckets on the floor in the hallway. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Yeah. And because of COVID-19, the wonderful pandemic, I'll be having Christmas alone this year. Which, you know, is really not so bad because I usually host Christmas for most of my family, my sisters, my brother-in-law, my nephews, a couple of cousins. So there's usually 9 or 10 of us here at Christmas, and I do 99% of the cooking because I'm the only one with gluten-free kitchen. So in order for me to not get sick with gluten, I usually host here. But this year, Toronto is in lockdown, and the government is saying they strongly suggest that we not have family gatherings. So I'll be having Christmas dinner alone, probably on Zoom with my sisters and anybody else who can join us, which will be great because you know what? It will be so relaxing for me. It'll be the first year in, I don't know how long, 10 years since I moved back home to Canada, and then I hosted Christmas for my in-laws family. First Christmas where I don't have to do anything. I mean, I bought myself a tiny little turkey breast and some vegetables, and I'll have all the stuff. I'll have all the trimmings, but without all the people and without all the mess and without all the stress. Christmas is the worst holiday for me. I don't like it. Don't like it. And nothing anybody says to me is ever going to make me change that. It's just not my favorite holiday. Halloween, definitely my favorite holiday. Not that it's a holiday. So, enough bitching. Let's get in the kitchen and make some cookies. The cookies we're making today are ginger cookies. Gluten-free, nut-free, and vegan. So these pretty much cover everybody who is coming to your Christmas party or just you. If you're like me and not having Christmas parties this year, this covers everybody unless they don't like ginger. I do know a couple of people who don't like ginger, but for the most part, I think pretty much everybody will like these. I came up with this recipe a few years ago because since I was diagnosed with celiac disease, I really missed ginger Christmas cookies or pfefferness. When I was a kid, I would eat an entire bag all to myself right up until I was diagnosed. At Christmas time, I'd go out, buy a big bag of pfefferness cookies, and I'd just eat them all. But now I can't do that because I can't find any that are mass-produced that are gluten-free. So I came up with this recipe on my own a few years ago, and I'd like to share it with you. And by all means, if you make it, share it with all of your friends, all your vegan friends, all your nut allergic friends, and all your celiac friends. So let's get started. First, we're going to use tigernut flour. This is ground tiger nuts. They're not nuts, it's a root, and they don't come off of tigers, so I don't know why they're called that. Yeah. So ground tiger nuts, it's a root, it's gluten-free, it's nut-free, and it's vegan because it's a plant. So we're going to start with this, and we need 1 cup of tiger nut flour. This stuff is not cheap. Pretty much anything that is gluten-free, not cheap. The price of food lately has gone up and apparently is just going to continue to go up. So of course, all those gluten-free foods, they just keep going higher and higher and higher. And it gets more and more difficult for people with celiac disease to be able to afford food. So if you are making a donation to a food bank, please make a donation of gluten-free food, because there are some people with celiac disease who have to make a choice of getting food from a food bank and being sick, or just not eating at all. Okay, so now we're putting in some cassava flour. This is also a root and also gluten-free and also vegan. And we're also going to put in 1/4 cup of coconut sugar. You can also use brown sugar. You just want a brown sugar rather than a white refined sugar because of the texture that it gives you in the finished product. I'm also going to start my oven to preheat at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, I believe, 177 Celsius, somewhere around there. Okay, so I also want 2 tablespoons of powdered ginger. These are really gingery cookies. I love ginger. Honestly, I can just chew on a piece of ginger. And I have been known to do that on occasion. It's very, very hot, but it's very, very yummy. Which is why I put it in my cocoa. Ooh, speaking of cocoa. So, along with the ginger, we also want some Ceylon cinnamon. I'm putting in 1 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon. Ceylon cinnamon is also labeled as true cinnamon. This has more cinnamony taste, but less of that. I can't remember what the chemical is in cinnamon that makes people choke. So there's that, and then I also want 2 teaspoons of baking soda. One, 2, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I use pink Himalaya salt. I just need 1/2. You can use any kind of salt you like. There are slightly more minerals in Himalaya salt than there are in white table salt, so I just use that. And then once all the dry ingredients are in together, you want to just whisk through them to get rid of the lumps and clumps and chunks. The tigernut flour will probably have a few lumps. So once that is all mixed up and there's no more lumps, we're going to put in the wet ingredients. And instead of eggs, to bind this together, we're going to use some unsweetened applesauce. We're going to use 1/4 cup of unsweetened applesauce. So that's 1/2 of this, which is about this is 100 ml, so 1/2 of it 50 ml. Oops. So I use 1/2 of that. And then I also have 1/2 of a cup of melted coconut oil. Melt that. I just measure it out and stick it in the microwave for about 20 seconds. It melts pretty quickly. And then we also have 1/4 cup of dark molasses. This stuff is amazing. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, you know, when I was a kid, I did not like molasses at all. hated it. And whenever anybody brought in a gingerbread house at Christmas time to school, I'm like, yay, gingerbread! And then I would taste the molasses on it that they used in the joins. Now I just love molasses. I don't know why I didn't like it before. So we're gonna mix this up. Trying not to get flour all over the kitchen and not spill molasses and coconut oil. Oh, it smells so good. I wish you could smell this. Oh, the ginger and the molasses. Oh, it's just heaven. And when these are cooking, oh, so good. So good. These also, you can make these ahead. I don't know how many of you are going to be having family gatherings, or if you live with a large family, or you already have a large group of people that you live with. These are great if you can also gift these. If you have someone in your life who has celiac disease and nut allergies and is vegan, they will love you forever if you give them a box of these cookies. Plus the recipe, of course, which I will post in the description below. You know what? People with celiac disease and allergies, we get that a lot. People are like, ew, you're weird. Why don't you just have a piece of bread? Because I can't. So this is all mixed up, and now we just want to put them onto a baking sheet. So let me go get that, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I got my baking sheet, standard baking sheet, and then I put on a silicone tray cover just so that the cookies don't stick and they're easier to remove. You can use parchment paper or whatever you normally do when you're making cookies. So this is what the dough looks like. It's very dark. Oh, seriously smells so good. So good. So what we're going to do now is I have this 1 tablespoon round measure, and I like using this one just because it makes kind of prettier cookies. So I'm going to just measure out 1 tablespoon like this, and then put it on the sheet. So then I just cover up the sheet. And this recipe, I think, makes about 2 dozen cookies. So let me show you what these look like. So they're just little balls of yummy goodness. Here is the tray of cookies. It's hard to do this like that, but so I'm gonna stick these in the oven for, let me see, I think it's 18 minutes, and then when they come out of the oven, put them on a wire rack to cool, and try not to eat them while they're still hot because burns the mouth. Eight, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's check these. Look at that. Oh, such yummy. Oh, I do wish you could smell these. They smell so good. So just gingery and molassesy. Is that a word? No, I just made it up. Okay, so now we're going to transfer them from the tray onto a wire rack to cool until you can touch them without burning yourself. That's all. And then you can start eating them. that is the ginger cookies, gluten-free, nut-free, vegan, inclusive to everybody, wonderful Christmas cookies. And if you try the recipe, do let me know how they turn out for you. If you can't find tigernut flour and you don't have anybody in your life who is allergic to nuts, you can also use almond flour for this. I tried that a couple of weeks ago and they turned out really, really well. With the almond flour. So I'm just gonna finish up here and then I'm eagerly going to wait for them to cool off so that I can eat some cookies. I also made some cupcakes this afternoon. So I've been baking all day and yeah, I should probably have some real food for dinner, maybe, or not. I'll see you later. So here's the second tray, and the first batch is now cool enough to eat. So I'm going to take these out and turn my oven off, and I am going to have a cookie. These are so good because the outside is crunchy and the inside is nice and soft, and that's what the brown sugar does. If you were to use white refined sugar in these, then they would be hard, crunchy cookies rather than soft in the middle. And then the inside, it just melts. It's so good. The ginger is lovely. And the molasses, the texture is just so, so good. If you try these, I do hope you enjoy them. And for all of for anybody watching who might be having a solo Christmas like I will be, I do hope you find a way to enjoy yourself and to have a good Christmas.